There we go, Kirk. Hopefully that is the end of our technical troubles today. We are here through the rest of this, and we're back again. Sorry about the interruption to the stream. Let's get cracking and focus on the rest of the action, Kirk.
.600 set up faster than Katie Kai. It's interesting to see with Katie Kai being on the softer tyre. We have a sim race dude up into third now. He'll be very happy with that lap. Manley can't improve. Let's see, we've got Lee coming up into the final bus stop chicane. Is he going to improve in this lap? Oh, a bit too much inside curb. I don't think he might. It will improve. No, he has not. 1.5 seconds slower.
Not as yet, but he's being followed across the line by Sarah Hawkey. So we've got some interesting battles that are going to be happening in qualifying, it would appear, Kirk. Right, at the moment we have Swizzy on those medium tyres, who's currently sitting in P1s. That making him look very strong for this race. KD the Kai, I think he's going to be... Oh, he's got to do it this lap because he's not going to have another chance at it. He's going to be low on fuel, and he's got to do it this lap, Kirk. I mean, that fuel and those tyres, he's not going to get around for a pit stop. And it's only a 10-minute qualifying session, so he's got to do it this lap. We'll stay on board with KD the Kai for the moment, and then back to Swizzy, and then we'll check out the rest as we come through. Somewhere Pedro's got up to P3, so showing his pace. KD the Kai, he's gone wide. That's going to invalidate the lap, but if he's lucky, which I don't think he's going to be, he might get another lap if he's got enough fuel, but he's got on a wait. Nope, there's the penalty. There, never mind. So that's going to be KD the Kai, probably into P2 for the start of the feature race.
Yeah, here we are. But it says to Swizzy, can Swizzy improve? You know, he's running very long fuel, so this is probably his last lap. He comes through the final chicane. That was a perfect final chicane. And then as he runs up the line, does he improve? Yes, by 2/10 to go 2.5 tenths clear of KD the Kai, who would probably be kicking himself after making such a simple mistake after being almost a second up in the second sector.
Yeah, and KD the Kai spun coming out of the bus stop as well, so he absolutely lost any chance of improving there. And just Nick in the chat says, wouldn't be Nighthawk racing without technical difficulties. That is so true, Nick. That is so true. Right, Pedro's out on track. He's one of the last ones on a flying lap on the moment. He is on those medium tyres as well. Mac is out there. He has got around for another flying lap. I think he'll be one of the final... Nope, Sim Race Dude will be the final person to get a lap in, I believe. But at the moment, we've got Pedro coming around. He's the only one in Sector 3 at the moment, coming up towards Blanchimont. We've got a couple of drivers going faster, both Lee and Sarah Hawkey in the 2-minute 22s. Here comes Pedro, Blanchimont, into the bus stop after this. Flat through Blanchimont. What can he do into the final chicane? Hard on the brakes, aiming for that apex. Is he going to hit it? Just about on the first part, second part, nicely. Accelerate out down the pit stop. Where will he come out? Where will that place him? P3, 3 tenths faster. That's a good effort there, Kirk.
Yeah, so it gives him a little bit of buffer to McManley, who's still on the lap, who's just gone for our first sector now. Oh, no, he's on an out lap, should I say. Sorry, that's my personal bad there. So who we got on a lap now? We have got
Ziggy in P10's coming through Blanchimont. It's his only flying lap so far. He's only... not even competitive. He's only lap so far. It's been 11 seconds off the pace. But that is going to improve by multiple seconds this lap, as long as he doesn't yeet himself out the corner, final corner. Where's he going to come out, Kirk?
And run up to the line. I don't know where he's going to come up. He's going to hit his line. He improves 9 seconds to qualify P6.
Can't argue that, can
sure
you?
He'll be very happy with that. He'll be very happy with P6. You
cannot argue that. Right, we've still got Big Crazy Bertie. And... I think Mac is got a half second penalty, so that'll probably be abandoned. So we've got Big Crazy Bertie who's off, so he's not going to be setting a faster lap. That leaves Sim Race Dude in P5 currently. So I believe he's the only one that can improve at the moment under this beautiful Ardennes light at the moment. through Blanchimont. Absolutely flat through there on brand spanking new soft tyres in a lovely V12 Aston. You can't ask for much better than that. Love that bronze livery. Through the bus stop chicane. Oh, he's run out of time. He is just about run out of time. The 2-minute timer caught him out. That is unlucky. That is very, very unfortunate.
It's one of the unfortunate things of having such a long lap. Sometimes, if you leave it too late, you're not going to have enough time to get round.
That is true. That is unfortunately very true. Right. And as Swizzy has quite rightly said to KD the Kai, don't worry, it was only qualifying. Right, the beauty about this next race, our first race of the night, is our sprint race, is reverse grid of the qualifying. So, bear with us a moment while we take note of who came where in that one. We will momentarily get underway for the race. Kirk, what was your feelings on that qualifying session?
I think Pedro must be very happy qualifying P3. The P3, we see Sim Race Dude and Ziggy both up there as well in P5 and P6 respectively. You know, they'll be both looking out to see what they can do for our feature race tonight. They'll be possibly trying a lot. I think going into our sprint race as well, Sarah, I'd be money on her for finishing top 5. You know, if a good defensive drive from anyone, let's see what Bertie can do. Bertie, we've seen multiple times this season pull off a very good, consistent drive. You know, he's not the quickest guy, but you know he knows how to do some defensive driving, or he knows when to show up when need to be. Luke,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Quite frankly, I couldn't agree more with what you said. Fred slipped underneath the radar for me on that one. Didn't see much of him. Obviously, we didn't see anything of Stephen or Koulios because of the qualifying ban. However, they will be in the next race, so keep an eye out for them. Koulios, so far this year, has shown, particularly at the high-speed ring, pace above what we expected. So we are going to be hoping for a good, strong race for him. Right, while they're just getting ready, there's a couple of moments before they go out. Just want to quickly go over the championship standings. Over the last race, the sprint last race, we had Mac take the win there, with Swizzy second, KD the Kai third. And in the feature race, we had our Swizzy take the win, Jabril, who was a super sub for the day, take P2, and fortunately myself take P3, which I was very happy with. And for the feature race, Swizzy took the fastest lap and expect him to be trying to do the same again tonight. Drive of the day, awarded by Kirk and Sarah, was again Swizzy for his amazing performances there. So otherwise, championship standings. Top 17. Any standouts in there for you, Kirk?
Yeah, I think our standings right now, if we look, 30 up in P5 shows you don't have to be the fastest guy to get a very good result. Obviously, is inconsistent to be 5th in the standing. Also also lead P4 as well. Again, you don't have to be quick, just be consistent, and you'll be up there. And possibly Jabril, if we have Jabril come in for another race or two this year, he could certainly be challenging up there at the top 4 or 5 as well, Luke.
Yeah, quite right, quite right. Okay, so here we go. The race is just getting underway. So, back to the racing action, Kirk.
Absolutely. I'm ready for an exciting sprint race, aren't you, Luke?
Absolutely. Here we go. Drivers are getting in their seats. Adrenaline is going to be going through the roof.
Who do you think is going to be our podium, Luke?
Oh, no, that is the question. That is the question. Like yourself, I'm going to be tipping Sarah for a good top 5. Bertie, I'm going to tip for a sneaky podium potentially. Otherwise, keep an eye out for Ziggy, who's joining us for the first time this season, out for a good race. And here we go. Green lights, and they're out. So, Nick into turn 1. Unfortunately, it's gone straight on. So, Sarah will take the lead there.
Oh, I think we had problems at the start, Luke. Everyone's all over the place.
Yep, I think that's going to be a red flag start. We'll come back to that. Yeah, that looks like a red flag. So it looks like we have unfortunately had a glitch. We'll come back to this in a moment. Kurt, if you just talk us through some highlights for a moment, and we'll go from there. Talk us through the sprint race and the feature race last week.
Yeah, certainly. Um, Last week we saw in our feature race, which was absolutely fantastic. I add, we saw Jabril, just barely losing the win to the race to Squizzy on the final lap. And again, we saw feature race as well. Turn one, we saw a lot of drama as two of our drivers broke late or tried to outbrake each other and just went straight on, and he kind of reenacted some bowling in the turn one, which we hate to see. But yeah, um, we also saw a range of strategies as well. We saw McManley tried to pit early for the hards, didn't quite work out for him, and once he could no longer hold back the charge in Midnight and Kai pitted for a set of softs and tried to set new fastest lap of the race, which I don't think he passed, as I think our fastest lap of the race was held by Swizzy. Um, Yeah, Swizzy. So not only did Swizzy get the points for winning the race, the whole 40 points, he also gains an extra 3 for being on pole, and then an extra 2 points for having the fastest lap, which obviously extends his lead now at the top of the title with top of the standings to was that 30 points now, pretty much 32 points. I think Kai's gonna have a lot of work to do tonight and over the rest of the season if he wants to try and close that gap. I think it's anyone's race a second between McManley or Katie the Kai. Either or of them, we see them most weeks usually trading positions. Um, I think of our first 2 rounds, McManley's strategies maybe let him down a little. We know the pace is there, but well, as I said, the strategy calls can sometimes be a bit questionable. Going down the order again, as I said mentioned earlier, we see Liam Bertie. 2 drivers may not be the quickest, but clean, consistent, and just avoiding mistakes and any drama that happens shows you that you can still salvage, or I would say salvage, but you can still redeem a good result. And further down, we have P7, we have Jabril. Obviously, only a one-off appearance right now. He could turn up sooner or later. We couldn't say for certain. But obviously, he'll be trying. If he does come back, he'll be looking at again. Hopefully, competing against Swizzy for a win, as we saw in Autopolis. That is followed by Luke, Midnight, and Pedro. Obviously, Luke with me tonight, commentating alternative rounds with Sarah. So obviously, he won't be racing every round. I'm sure when you do get back in the seat, Luke, you'll be trying to get some more podiums or at least sneak into them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that will be the.
Pedro, obviously,
So I'll say that will be
you
the
take it
idea,
away,
Kurt.
Luke. Yeah, then we go Pedro. As I said earlier, uncharacteristically quiet round for him. We saw in High Speed Ring he was up there, and we saw in the Expo as well. That is, he can always be up there. Obviously he must not blend with the Autopolis circuit very well, as it's uncharacteristically low down in the pack. Followed by Stephen, who after the Turn 1 incident in the feature race, he did not claim many points from Autopolis as he DNF'd. Again, Louis in P13 due to technical issues, he cannot take part in the series, which is unfortunate. Although you may hear from him commentating for a round or two later on in the season. It'll be a welcome guest if you know Luke. And then we have Sarah in 14th. Again, she rotates commentating jobs with Luke, so we'll see her in next week. Then we have Chef again, who's just another sit-in. Unfortunately, it's just another reserve. We have to have reserves in case people can't make it, which is fine. Yeah, he could always pop up another round and have another good round and possibly boost himself up 5-6 positions with a good round. Then we have Deadline, who it may be in P16th right now, but You know, a good round here tonight, and that could easily see him jump up into the top 8 or so. You know, you know, the good part of this championship is that it's really still anyone's game because every position has points. It's always worth fighting for. So even if you find yourself towards uh, 8th or 9th, if you're a front runner, you're still going to be picking up a decent haul of points. So it's still always worth fighting for, Luke.
So yeah, okay, I believe we're just about ready to get underway again. And we will see what is going on. Hopefully we can have a good race into turn 1 now. So thank you very much for that, Kirk. Hopefully that is the last moment we have with any technical glitches, and that was a weird one. It's not often that people go straight on at La Source. So yeah, that was a weird one. But let's get cracking. So drivers are lining up again. Let's see what they can do out there.
No technical gremlins this time.
Always happens, doesn't it? Right. Okay, the drivers are lining up. Let's get cracking.
Hopefully this time, no issues, no drama.
Attempt 2, here we go. Right, all lights out, green, here we go. So Nick will be leading into turn 1, into La Source. Hopefully he's going to make it through there without going straight on. Followed by Sarah, Lee, Bertie and Fred. Unfortunately, Nick has run wide at La Source. It's going to allow Sarah through and into the lead. So change of lead straight off the bat, Kirk. Take it away, man.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see further down in the pack, we've got everyone running through ready on an Rouge. Oh, Nick possibly checking up Rouge, unexpectedly catching Bertie off guard and Fred. Then receive a little bit of damage each. But we have Sarah leading into Lecom. So keep now gapping the field by about 2 seconds. They'll be hoping to run away before we see our faster runners coming through the pack. Running that pack. Everyone seems to be following through one-on-one. Stephen picking up a half-second penalty. Same with Koulios. Obviously not really the start they would have liked. Oh, and we've got Nick round at the source. I'm not 100% sure what happened there. A little bit of an issue. Hopefully you can recover from that. You see everyone checking
got it on replay
behind Big.
Yeah, he's had a spin coming out of Lecom into Malmedy, I think. He's just about got away with it. He hasn't got any damage, and he's allowed Ziggy up into P12. Unfortunately, Ziggy, somewhere unseen by us, has also dropped down to the back of the grid. I mean, he started somewhere right in the middle of the field. So, out front at the moment, looking at the front, Lee has gone into P1 with Sarah and Bertie P2 and P3 swapping places as they come through. And then we see Sarah go briefly off. It looks like we might be having a little bit of a lag situation with Sarah. We will keep an eye on that. If that gets any worse, we'll have to ask her to jump out. Hopefully not. At the moment, she's mid-pack with Pedro and Swizzy catching up, and Simrace Dude on the right-hand side coming through the back straight heading towards Blanchemont. 3 or 4 cars won't go in through there, people. Oh, they made it.
Obviously, everyone's trying to find that little bit. Everyone's trying to find a little bit of space in the first lap. You can't win the race on the first lap, guys. I know you're trying to be through, but you cannot win.
Yeah, keep an eye on Simrace Dude. You've got KD the Kai coming through side by side down the main pit straight with Fred just behind as well. So it looks like Simrace Dude has lost a bunch of positions from Blanchemont onwards. Just being crowded out of the positions there. Fred dives down the inside and into Pedro. So that's an instant at La Source. One for the stewards later on. Ziggy looks like he's catching up to the back of the pack. Nick is still running. P13 at the moment. Just needs to keep going. Hopefully he'll get a good set of points this evening. So Sarah going over the top of Radion. Followed by that rocket, Swizzy. So he's going for it. I mean, they joked in F1 that it was lap 21 by the time Verstappen got into the lead. It looks like Swizzy's trying to get there by lap 3.
Yeah, absolutely. But we see McManley taking the lead from Lee going into Lecom. You know,
Yeah,
now if I'm McManley, I'm running, I'm going as fast as I can. I want to try and build as much a gap before Swizzy sneaks on by Lee, which isn't going to be long if I know anything about Swizzy. He is going to be eager to get past and start hunting down McManley.
yeah. Katie Lakai is carrying some rear damage as well. So that is noteworthy. As we see Bertie run wide through Speaker's no-name corner. Yeah, I agree with you. McManley's got to go now. Swizzy is now P2. He's got past Lee somewhere. Let's see if we can see that on replay. Oh, I think that is the replay from earlier, I'm afraid. Still trying to work that one out. But Swizzy, yes, he's up into P2, but it's noteworthy that the AMG is a lot softer on its tyres around here than that GTR. So Mac has got to hold out until the 15-minute marker. I mean, this may come back to Mac even if Swizzy can get by. So it's those two out front and going for it at the moment, followed by Lee in P3, KD Lakai P4, despite the... Oh, looks like he hasn't got damage. That was a sync error, so it looks like he's actually going for it. So he's still going for that. Sarah still running in 5th, followed by Pedro, followed by Sim Race Dude. These three quite equally matched around here. Fred in P8 with front end damage. Might have been Bertie with the rear end damage, followed by Stephen, Koulios and Ziggy, who has joined the back of the pack. So a lot of them are all together now, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Ziggy be eager to get through. You know, after qualifying P6, he knows his pace is up there in the top half of the pack. I can't imagine. Oh, I think McManley must have had an issue coming through the source as Swizzy's all over the back of him and possibly going to be able to challenge him coming into the source. But the comms, might correct myself. Here we are. We've got the Swizzy going on board with Swizzy. Swizzy catching up by a rate of knots. Is he going to be close enough to maybe pull out a little bit and try and scare McManley into going a bit deep? No, he doesn't. He sits behind for now, but I can only imagine it's a matter of time before Swizzy gets past. Yeah,
and you got KD Lakai joining the party as well. And it looks like at the moment, somewhere Pedro has gotten in front of our own Miss Sarah Hawkey, still running P6, followed by Sim Race Dude. That's a good little pack there. Followed by Fred in P8. Big Crazy Bertie in P9 with that rear end damage. Ziggy's up to P10, so he's got past Koulios and Steven somewhere, who now have half-second and 1-second penalties each. So that will be something that they were trying to avoid, but unfortunately have picked up this race. Keep going, Ziggy. We'll see more from you. But out the front, Kirk, Mac versus Swizzy. This is one of the battles we wanted to see.
Absolutely. I think this is still anyone's race. You did just miss Pedro making a really impressive dive into Puon. That puts him up to P4, so everyone's going to try and conjoin on McManley now. If I'm McManley, I'll be trying to focus on exits. Yeah, exits, because, you know, although Swizzy getting a bit sideways coming out of second Stavolo, you know, almost getting a bit wide onto the grass. Yeah, Swizzy is right up behind McManley, coming into Blanchamon. Is he going to? Still not quite close enough to be able to challenge McManley into the final chicane. But I'm sure right now he'd just be scouting McManley out. McManley parks it on the apex. Swizzy looks for the cutback. He gets a good exit into the source. He looks around the outside, possibly doing a cutback down to El Rouge and Radion.
Here comes KD Lakai.
Lets him go. McManley wants that slipstream coming into Lecom's. If he can get the exit. Oh, not the best exit in the world for McManley. I think Swizzy, but McManley knows if he doesn't at least go for it here, surely there's no catching Swizzy.
Yeah, I would. Well, at the moment, that GTR sitting in the hands of Swizzy and KD Lakai is looking super fast. That AMG looks like it is struggling, but it is doing better on its tyres. This may come back to McManley, but as at the moment, here comes KD Lakai down to P2, down to Lecom. Yeah, later on the brakes.
Easy job.
Yeah, did it. Simple and effective pass. At the moment, it is worth noting that Swizzy is suffering with much more tyre wear than the pair of them ahead of him. behind him rather. So that battle is nowhere near over. Keep an eye on Mac. He will not be wanting to go from first to third in half a lap. So just behind Pedro, kind of in no man's land. 5 and a bit seconds behind Mac, and about 6 seconds ahead of Lee, who is now carrying a 1 second penalty. Followed by Simrace Dude and Sarah, who is right on the back of Simrace Dude. Simrace Dude known for a lot of consistency and a lot of under-the-radar drives. So he's going to be going up to P5, I feel, here. But Lee, Simrace Dude, Sarah, Fred, and Ziggy all in a line here.
Yeah, I think when he does that 1 second penalty, Lee could easily be dropping down into 7th, 8th, 9th. You know
Seeing
what
the
I
possibility
mean?
of 10th in there, I think.
Yeah, as our mid-pack is so tight right here. Sarah up the inside, or possibly pushing Fred a little bit wide. Ziggy going up the inside of Sarah, well, outside of Sarah, going into the first Stavolo. There we are. He doesn't quite make the move, but he's going to have to run coming up. Sarah goes wide. Sarah spins. Round goes Sarah. Oh, unlucky. It's not what you like to see, but she got a little bit wide coming out of the out of Stavolo and onto that AstroTurf, and it just jumped the car and round she went, Luke.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Right in the path of Stephen and Koulios. Lucky to get away with that. But still keeps going, P12. At the moment, well, we've missed it somewhere. Katie the Kai has run wide somewhere, I think. He's picked up a half second penalty. And Mac is back through into P2. And Swizzy out front has gone. 2.5 seconds clear.
I think this is Swizzy's race to lose now. If I'm Swizzy, there's no reason to push anymore. You've got yourself a little buffer now. You just cruise it to the end.
If anything, he's got to be a bit careful. Just save a bit of those tyres. At the moment, Ziggy, from all the way from P13 up to P6 at the moment, after a disastrous first lap, is now going to be chasing down Simrace Dude. Cracking return to form for Ziggy there, Kirk.
Absolutely, I'm sure Z will be absolutely ecstatic to see this. Although he's probably a bit further off the lead they what they would like to be. I think having fought through the pack and up to P6, you can't go wrong with him. You can't fault it, can you?
Agreed. Good race in the field. We got Stephen and Koulios, who started at the back because of a qualifying penalty, are absolutely trading blows as they're coming now through the speaker's corner. They were absolutely nose to tail from Raddy onwards there, so good bit of racing from them. Somewhere we have lost Big Crazy Bertie, I think probably because of that damage. He's down to P11 as well, with Sarah following in P12. Nick has pitted. I wonder if that is for damage. Yes, it is. So he's going for just soft tyres and damage repair. So good luck to Nick. Hopefully he can have a good rest of the sprint. At the moment, the top three have stabilised with Swizzy out in front. Although Mac has gained about a second in that middle sector somewhere. So I wonder if Swizzy is feeling the effects of those worn front tyres. I mean, it's at that point, Kirk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Another lap or two more to go. If Mac's going to have to make a move now. So sadly, actually, I take that back. Now Mac has fallen back, so I think Swizzy will be feeling it, but it's more Katie the Kai that Mac has to worry about now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That GTR is absolutely rapid in a straight line. So Manley, as we saw when Katie Kai tried to overtake him the first time coming down the Camel straight, that the Merc is just a sit and duck in the straight line.
It does appear to be.
Look, you can see him absolutely gaining if you on board. How much he catches in a straight line compared to Manley, who's probably would give you a bit more power engine. Probably feel really vulnerable in the straight.
Somewhere we have had Stephen go up to P8, so he has jumped Fred somewhere, and Koulios, who was with him, he's definitely had an accident somewhere, not seen by us. He's now carrying front end damage, and he has Sarah right behind him, so this could be a late opportunity for the Miss Hawkey to jump up a position and gain some more points. So lots of things going on this track.
Yeah, Sim Race Dude coming under pressure from Ziggy. Sim Race Dude on the mediums, interestingly, and Ziggy on the softs. Maybe the mediums weren't the way to go for this race today. We've seen in previous races where the softs would wear out too much before the end of the end of the race. But yeah, this is ball in Ziggy's favour for a possible P5 finish on his first event with us, Luke.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. I want to see both of these gents do very well. Both very respected in the GT7 community and motorsport community at large. But as I think you're right, I think Ziggy on the softer tyre, despite being a bit more worn, you can see he just has that more grip as he goes into Stavelot, right behind Sim Race Dude. We're going to stay with this one. Talk us through this, Kirk.
Absolutely.
You're Ziggy. What are you doing here?
I'm Ziggy. I'm getting past now. You know, I've got to use my soft ties up before they wear out, and he's going round the outside, going up towards Blunchwan. This is be brave from Ziggy if he makes it work. Oh, he runs a bit wide, risks picking up a half-second penalty or so. Hopefully not, but maybe he should give that position back to Sim Race Dude as well.
I think
And
he
he
will
does
be.
pick
He's
up a
picked up that
half-second
penalty. But can he break in the time he's got for this lap? Can he break that half-second penalty distance for Sim Race Dude, who's coming down the outside of him at La Source? So this battle is not over, and this is going to be the final lap, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ziggy has to hold position here and hope he can pull out a gap in the middle sector. Otherwise, he is in serious danger of not finishing
Side by side,
P5
Eau
again.
Rouge.
Sim Race Dude thinking better of it.
Quite right, I think.
Smart decision, actually.
Yeah, Lee just following in P7. Stephen, P8, Big Crazy Bertie, P9, Sarah, P10, and now that is 15 minutes. Anyone crossing the line now will finish the race automatically. Looks like Nick will finish this time round, who's just somewhere behind Swizzy, so he'll finish at the same time as the leaders. So, Swizzy looks like he's got this one in the bag, Kirk. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to keep an eye on Ziggy and Sim Race 2, because this is where the penalty is going to be absolutely key. Can Ziggy break the penalty distance? I mean, it's going to be a tight one, isn't it?
Absolutely. I just hope that this isn't what we see to come, where Swizzy's showing absolute dominant pace out front. You know, Manley not being able to catch him once past. As I hope this isn't the thing to come. Well, hopefully we have Key the Kai starting on them. Oh, I see there from Ziggy going a bit wide.
He's trying so very hard, isn't he? Yeah, that's a 1 second penalty now. It looks like Sim Race 2 is going to get him on this one. I've got to go and have a quick look to see, because I think Swizzy is coming through the bus stop. Go
through the bus stop, left. Yeah, simple right. Oh, a bit sideways out of the exit. Probably celebrating a little bit, and in the end, quite a simple win for Swizzy. Will by McManley, probably a bit disappointed to give up the lead into the first corner. But Katie Kai taking third, with Pedro taking fourth. Maybe not the best idea from McManley giving up the lead into the source to try and get the slipstream down the straight. But the hindsight is 2020. We have Sim Race 2 coming around the final corner now, up ready to take P5. Ziggy would probably be a bit disappointed with P6 when P5 was on the cards. But at the end of the day, P6 from towards the back of the grid, you can't complain, Luke.
No, quite right, particularly after lap 1.
Yeah. Sarah coming up to take P10. Then we have Koulias and Fred riding out the grid, Luke.
Yeah, looks like we had a couple of spins, a couple of incidents in there. We know Bertie and Lee were carrying what might look like damage between each other, but they've both come through in the top 10. Koulias with front end damage has got a points finish in P11, and the final finisher, Fred, in P12. Also quite hefty damage there, Kirk, on the front right and the nose cone. So that's a bit unlucky, but that is the way it falls, isn't it?
Yeah, I possibly had a little incident coming up on the final lap. You know, easily done here. It could be anything. Yeah, going a little bit too wide. Could be catching a bit of grass or something. Yeah, easily done by anyone, Luke.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, that was a good sprint race. I enjoyed that. But we still have a feature race to come. Can you very briefly go over the format again for us, just for the feature, and we will get underway very quickly.
Absolutely. So our feature race tonight is 33 laps. It is a standing start, and you will start on the You will start the race on the tire you qualified. Will set your fastest lap on qualifying in. So, for example, KD Kai set his fastest lap on the soft, so he'll be starting on the soft tire. Or Swizzy, although he got pole, he would have to start on the medium tire due to the fact that obviously he set his fastest lap on the medium tire. Yeah, I think looking at that, it could still be anyone's race. KD Kai's probably gonna have to pull away straight away and not look back, and hope that Swizzy gets gobbled up by the pack behind. Obviously, starting on the medium tires could leave him a little bit more vulnerable to the people behind him, behind him. Yeah, so I think off this start, the ball is in KD Kai's court. Yeah, the ball is in KD Kai's court to really make the most of this grid start. Anyway, still going on about the feature race. We have to use two sets of tires, where it would be soft, medium, hard, medium, soft. You have to use two sets of tires unless the track gets wet, which we are defining as the water on the moisture bar going over a third, to which the entire tire rule goes out the window, and you can use whatever you like. Whether you want to use wets on a dry track, Luke, or slicks on a wet track.
All I can say is that is insane
way.
around here. We tested that, and it's not something you want to be doing, Kirk. We've seen it before, haven't we?
Absolutely, we have, Luke.
Yeah, not for me, thank you very much. I'll stick to the appropriate tyres for the track. And it's worth noting, this track is so long, about 7 kilometres, that you can get caught out very, very easily on this track. I mean, it could be dry in one part and wet in another, so you've got to play those strategic cards very, very well. It's feature on the track.
If you see a little bit, if you see a little bit of rain, maybe a bit far out, because of how long the track is, it might be worth coming in a little bit early.
I would definitely be the person that would pit early and risk being on a wet tyre on dry rather than a dry tyre in the wet, especially around here. But each into their own. Some people can cope with it better than others. They're going to be hoping for a dry race, I would imagine, unless you're down towards the bottom 8 or so, and then you'll be wanting maybe a little bit of wet weather for a little bit of luck, perhaps.
I'm hoping for a little bit of rain. We always like a spicy race, don't we, Luke?
We do indeed, but not like 2021 F1 at Spa, where it was so wet there was no racing at all. But we won't get that. We're just hoping for a good race.
Absolutely, Luke. Absolutely. You think Swizzy's gonna be able to hold the lead though, coming off the start, especially on the medium tires?
Well, it's going to be interesting for the sheer fact. Yeah, he's going to have to warm up those tyres first, and like you said, they're going to be wanting to gobble him up into La Source and onwards. So it's going to be a grid start as well. But just to check, right, we've got qualifying results, which will be Swizzy on pole, KD Kai on second, Pedro in third, Mac in fourth, Simrace Dude in fifth, Ziggy in sixth, Fred in seventh, Bertie in eighth, Lee in ninth, Sarah in 10th, Nick in 11th, Stephen in 12th, and Koulios. Actually, I've got those two the wrong way round, I believe. They should be in 12th and 13th, respectively. So, let's get cracking. Right, it's time for that race.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited for it, Luke. Do you think anyone's going to be able to challenge Swizzy in this race, or do you think it's Swizzy's race to lose?
Well, let's get the first corner out of the way first, and then I'll comment. I mean, I do not want to give anyone a commentator's curse, especially around here. So, what I'm going to do very briefly is put up the championship calendar. Next week we have Dragon Trail Gardens, followed by Fuji, Nürburgring GP, Suzuka, and Red Bull ring. So tune in for those ones as well as these drivers here. Get ready for the feature length race at Spa, which will be 24 laps long. So good luck to all the drivers out there. Let's hope they have a good race.
I don't know about you, Luke, but I don't think I've ever seen a long endurance race around Dragon Trail Gardens before.
That was part of the reason why it was chosen. It might be a good little experiment for us, but we'll find out what happens. So, right, drivers are lining up on the grid. Here we go. Time for that race, Kurt.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everyone's on the grid. We're waiting for the lights to come on and signal our start. Here are 1, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go. Swizzy starts off pretty good. Katie Kaido on the outside, looking to turn 1. Hopefully we get no contact. Swizzy takes the commanding apex. Praise Katie Kaido looking for the cutback. But not the best exit off him. Maybe got a little slight tap from McManley, but here we are running down towards the hill. Swizzy, comfortable lead. Running to El Rouge and Radion. Katie Kai holds it around the outside of McManley. McManley a little bit wide, that could possibly be a penalty for McManley, but then we have Pedro. He's looking at picking up the scraps from possible McManley penalty. Coming into Lecom. We have McManley in the slipstream. Look at that straight line speed, and the Mercedes is just not there.
Yeah, quite right.
We have Lee coming up the inside of Sim Racing Dude, taking the overtake, and we have a little contact there between Swizzy and Fred. Fred goes round. I don't know if he hit the side of Sarah or Sarah turned in a bit aggressively, but that is Fred round towards the back of the pack. Obviously not what you want.
Seeing it on replay, he's coming into Lake Com, and it looks like he just loses the back end, unfortunately. He has a little bit of contact with Sarah, but then he's done a quick donut, and then he's away again.
He goes. Yeah. So at the front, Swizzy made a mistake at the front somewhere, because he is now right under pressure from Kai again. Is Kai going to try and look to make the move early? No, he sits behind for now. We're just reading speed chicane. Coming down into campus, I believe it's called. Yes, we'll see that. He's probably going to try and eye up a move coming up into the bus stop. McManley picking up a half-second penalty. That's going to leave him vulnerable to Pedro coming up into the bus stop as well.
I'm going to be keeping an eye on Katie the Kai. This is going to be where it is. This is going to be where it is.
Make it. Yeah, I'm on board Katie Kai. Basically pushing Swizzy through Blanchemont. I don't think it's close enough to really look into the bus stop. He brakes. Swizzy brakes later. Swizzy holds position, but does Swizzy go deep? Nope. Swizzy
Pedro into bus stop. Pedro into bus stop, going side by side with Mac. Now there's a highlight reel. Cracking move from Pedro there.
Absolutely. I said, but Manley with that half-second penalty would leave him weak up into the bus stop, to which Pedro took full advantage of. Going towards the back of the front of the pack here. Key the car with a good exit compared to Swizzy. He's already closing that gap. As we come through El Rouge, chuck it in, up and over Radion. Here we are. Swizzy, Kai's closing. He's closing. He goes to the Swizzy defense inside. Kai sweeps around the outside with not much problems there. You know, that slipstream is just a bit too powerful around here, Luke.
Yep, he's used the. He's done well. He's used the cards that he was dealt. He's come up to the bottom of Eau Rouge and Radion much faster than Swizzy with those soft tyres, and he has launched it down the inside, down the Camel into Lake Om. So cracking bit of racing there. Just in third and fourth, we got Pedro and Manley, who are nose to tail, and they probably get. Oh, looks like Pedro is struggling at the back end of that Genesis, but yeah, it's not over yet between those two. Lee in P5, Ziggy running in P6, Sim Race 2's P7, Big Crazy Bertie in that McLaren is in P8. Stephen running P9 quite well, alongside Koulios, both with a half-second penalty, and so is Sarah Hawkey, so they've all probably had a trip off, probably the same corner, following each other off. But other than that, we have Nick running in P12. Oh, is just a spin coming out of the speaker's corner, and Fred, who is running at the back of the pack for an unknown reason, in P13, half a lap behind everyone else. I don't know what's going on there, but that is Fred that is going to be suffering for this race. But there we go. KD Dekai is taking the fight to Swizzy, Kirk. Absolutely is, isn't he?
Swizzy, obviously, them being on them soft tyres, KD Dekai really be able to take advantage of that middle sector and being able to pull away. So that gap's up to 2 seconds now, 2.3. I saw for a split second there. Yeah, I think this is ball in KD Dekai's favour right now. He's really got to make advantage of these soft tyres if he wants to be able to defend later in the race from this unrelenting pace that we know that Swizzy has. Compared to pretty much everyone, there's very few drivers who can match him on his day. If you know what I mean, Luke.
I know exactly what you mean. But keep an eye on Pedro in P3, who's running nice and high. He's on the same tyre set as Swizzy, and to our testing, the GTR was a little bit hard on those front tyres. So have to see what the Genesis can do against that GTR. But Sim Race Dude coming up Eau Rouge over Radion. That car looks good through there. Followed by his nemesis, his arch nemesis Ziggy. But we do see Sim Race Dude with some rear damage, so he's going to be a bit slow on the straight. It might be easy pickings for that from that M6, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe up towards the bus stop. Oh, Sim Race Dude possibly catching Swizzy off guard a little bit there. Yeah, looking further down towards the pack. Nothing really going on. We see Koulios looking inside Steve trying to squeeze him towards the apex a little bit. Oh, it's a bit argy-bargy as we see Koulios going round. Oh.
Well, it looked good until he was round.
Yeah,
we'll see that again.
Yeah, I think they were just being a bit too aggressive against each other there. I guess Steve must have saw Koulios going round and just couldn't get out of the way in time, Luke. I think that's definitely worth maybe a little bit of an investigation, but I think Koulios was already going round before an extra contact with Steve.
I would agree with you on that. Looks like Stephen might be the innocent one in there. Sometimes when you're close racing like that, the temptation to put your foot down will give you that little bit of oversteer, which brings you around, which I think is what's happened there. But that is one for later. At the moment, out front, KD Dekai leading the way, followed by Swizzy, followed by Pedro and McManley. Only 8 seconds separate these four, all on very different strategy. Well, the back fourth, third, second, all on very different strategy to KD Dekai, who's on soft tyres. So, and again, followed by Lee, Ziggy and Sim Race Dude. Now, this is where it's going to be. Somewhere Ziggy's got past Sim Race Dude, but into the bus stop. Will Ziggy attempt to go around the outside? No, it plays it safe. It's worked for him though, thus far. Here we go, down to left horse. I
think he's definitely looking at it coming into the comms. If he can nail his exit here.
Now we're going to see the power of that M6, I feel. Sim Race Dude carrying that aero damage is going to make him slow in a straight line. So, if anything, Ziggy needs to be looking forwards, not behind him. But saying it, Sim Race Dude hasn't read the rulebook here because he is ignoring that damage. He's ignoring the physics of that one, and he's catching up with Ziggy.
Yeah, although Ziggy is also catching on Lee in front. Well, I don't think he's going to be enough. Although we see Lee dropping back now, possibly lose that damage.
Ziggy couldn't do it. He could not do it. That Lexus looks like it's got good straight line speed. Despite the M6 being in the tow, it looks like he's going to have to make it. He's going to have to make a pass on track somewhere.
Absolutely. It'd be interesting to see strategies calls when people start pitting. Would you want to go, if you're someone like KD Dekai, would you go for another set of softs and really try and set your advantage at the front, or would you go for a set of mediums? So therefore saving the soft tyre to possibly your last stint to allow you to maybe have the least amount of fuel in the car and really take advantage of those soft tyres. Because as we saw in the sprint race, soft tyres were actually holding up quite well. So even so, our people on the mediums could even be doing one stops if they can take the mediums deep enough into this race to go medium softs.
It's possible. I would be more expecting medium hards, but then we're going to be running into the territory of how big's your fuel tank. As Mac is serving a half-second penalty, it's going to be dropping off the back of Pedro on that one, and somewhat back into the clutches of Lee. Well, that's the question, Kirk. And somewhere, Ziggy has fallen behind Sim Race Dude. Let's see if we can catch that. It's happened somewhere at the top down the Kemmel somewhere. Down into either Malmedy or something like that. So Ziggy has dropped back. Instead of going for a pass on Lee, he's now behind Simrace Dude. So something's happened there. Never mind. Otherwise, cracking race, I think, so far from... Oh, Lee, Simrace Dude and Ziggy were holding on to each other quite nicely. And very respectable driving. I'm quite pleasantly surprised by the state of Katie Dakai's front tyres, I have to say. We're 4 laps in on the 5th, and they're still looking like they've got some pace in them. But he's going to have to pull away from Swizzy a lot more, and like you say, he's going to have to strategically choose his tyres. He's going to go soft and try and extend the distance over Swizzy with an undercut, or is he going to go to the harder tyre and try and go as long as possible? Who knows, Kirk?
As I said, as we saw in the sprint race, a tyre wear is not too bad around this track, mate. So we could be seeing these softs that they could take you just about halfway to this race, which then would just be a simple medium change to mediums, and you're going straight to the end of the race. I think the one stop is the one to go here, Luke. I think Ball is definitely in Swizzy's court, as he's going to be the guy who's going to have less fuel in the car, be on the softer tyre, and be able to really push Katie the car in that final stint, or coming towards the end of this race.
Yeah, I'll be agreeing with you there. Somewhere on track, Stephen has picked up some front right damage, so that's going to be hindering. He's going to be trying to carry that car as long as he can to get to the pit stop. Hopefully he will not fall back towards Koulios, who is in 10th. Sarah's still circulating out there in 11th, looking for a good haul of points tonight. I know she likes this track, and hopefully she can keep out there and pick up some more points and a couple more positions. Nick is doing a good job, still circulating. He's on those medium tyres, but again, carrying front end damage. And Fred with what looks like brand spanking new hard tyres in that grey AMG, coming down the Camel straight, and looking like those tyres just went on 30 seconds ago. So, any standout performance for you so far, Kirk?
I think right now, Pedro obviously holding his own. Holding his own in front of Manley, who we know is a very fast driver. P2 in the feature race. Lee, again, doing what his championship standing position says, having a very strong race, P5. And Ziggy as well. Although he has a half a second penalty, Ziggy obviously first time racing was since we've started this season. P7, can't be upset with that. You know what I mean? First race back for a while. P7, I'll be over the moon with it, Luke.
Quite right. One thing he's got to do now is settle down a little bit. He's picking up a couple of penalties, making a few little mistakes. Instead of going forward, he's probably lost 5 or 6 seconds between himself and Lee. And for what was looking like a P5 sure thing, he's now solidly in 7th. So a little bit more consistency, and he'll be right there. So hopefully, with 1/4 of the race done, he can have a good remainder 3/4 of this race. Big crazy Bertie, still circulating though. He's still doing well.
I just want to know, what's interesting with Pedro is that although Swizzy has clear air, Pedro's not exactly dropping back by that much. That gap is only at about 3 seconds, and Swizzy's only a couple tenths faster a lap, if that, than Pedro. So I'm sure very encouraging signs from Pedro to be possibly hunting down Kai towards the end of this race. So if you're Kai, would you defend hard from Swizzy for the win? Or would you be looking, possibly seeing your threat be more from Pedro for that P2, Luke?
Well, at the moment, looking it over, I would say Swizzy's still the main threat. He's obviously closer. His tyre wear looks a little bit better, and so does the fuel compared to that Genesis. That Genesis is very, very quick in a straight line. Quite a bit of a tricky little thing to handle. But I think Pedro is going to be nailed on. I think for third this evening. So, Katie Dakai and Swizzy, I think they are battling each other. But they have to keep an eye, and they cannot forget him, Mac. who he does always interesting strategies, but he's only 2.6 off the back of Pedro. So do not count him out. I mean, he's going to be threatening that podium
What's
too.
Nick doing? Oh, Nick possibly holding up Kate Kai a little bit there. Unfortunately. Didn't look like it slowed him down too much, but probably give Kate Kai a little bit of a heart attack as he comes onto the racing line as Kai tries to come past.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. That was a little bit unfortunate. Hopefully they won't lose Kili Kai too much time. But he is 6.5 ahead of Swizzy. Well, it's not something we were expecting when this race started.
No, absolutely. We knew that Kate Kai certainly had an advantage starting on the softer tyre, but to be 7 laps in and still pulling away slightly from Swizzy, although it looks like last lap he may have lost a bit of time to Swizzy. But other than that, he seems to be doing quite well this race, Kai does. Oh,
That
Nick,
is absolutely certain.
Making Swizzy have to brake as he comes past, not what we'd like to see. Yeah, Luke.
Just call that on replay.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think about the lap traffic, Luke?
I think it's been a bit difficult. It's fallen awkwardly for some of the drivers, but this is Spa. It's not a track with massively long straights. It's always going to be a factor, so it's something to look out for, and hopefully Nick can do his best. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be the only person on this grid with the pace that KD Kai and Swizzy have got. They're going to be encountering some more lap traffic before this race is out. KD Kai takes a very aggressive line over the bus stop there. But at the moment, I think we're at that point where the medium tyres are going to start becoming the faster tyre over the softs, as those softs wear tremendously. But I got a feeling KD Kai is going to be wearing those softs down to the carcass before he attempts to pit, try and maybe go for a very fast strategy of double soft medium perhaps, or maybe soft to hards to the end, but who knows, Go?
I mean, we've seen it multiple times this season where drivers would prefer to wear the softs right down before pitting. I don't know if it's a thing in the game where the softs are still the optimum tyre until they have 0% life compared to mediums or hards. But it's just something we've seen quite popular in this series, Luke.
Yeah, it does seem to be a popular strategy, wearing those softs right down as far as possible. It is also worth mentioning a lot of the drivers here are not on the same control scheme. Some are on controller, some are on wheel. And that goes anything from a G29 all the way up to a Fanatec. So there's a lot of variability in styles as well as control choices. So I do happen to know 2 of the top 3 are on controller, so if there's anyone out there who is controller based, do not worry, you can still be one of the greats of this game. So KD Kai, I believe he's on wheel, but Swizzy is a controller driver, and so is our Pedro, who's one of our admin team as well. So they're doing very well, despite being on controller code.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the great things about this game is that no matter what, controller or wheel, you can always be up there with the fastest drivers.
Oh, big power slide from Lee coming through Huon, or the double ghost, depending on how you look at it. He's been followed, being harassed a little bit by Simrace Dude, who his tyres are looking very, very second-hand now. And closely followed by Ziggy. So, but yes, just because you're in controller doesn't mean you're not in with a shout of a podium here.
I was going to say, Lee is certainly being kept honest by both Simrace Dude and Ziggy. Oh, and we see KD Kai coming in. Obviously, he felt this is the time to pit.
He's clearly been pushing his car super hard because he only had 25% of fuel. If you look at Swizzy, he's closer to 40. So that is going to be paying back for Swizzy later on. He's going to spend less time in the pits. And it's going to be a very similar fact for Pedro and McManley, who are around the 26-27% themselves. So it looks like Swizzy is playing the long game here. Is there anything this guy cannot do?
Yeah, I assume that could also be partly why Swizzy was losing a little bit of time to Kai, just because of fuel saving. I mean, but the fuel you save on track is less fuel that you have to put in the car when you come to stop.
Quite right.
I'm not sure what Katie Kite on a set of mediums. Although it looks like it's starting to cloud over a little bit, I'm not sure if we're expecting any rain or anything.
Would be the wrong time to rain if you just pitted, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I assume he must have his radar on. And obviously not seeing any rain. Obviously, not something we can do here in the commentary area.
One thing I want to bring everyone's attention to, it looks like that Manley is closing in on Pedro. That Genesis looks like it is absolutely chonking through its front tyres. But Manley's look, well, in comparison, new. So Pedro is going to be struggling with the front end of that car. He's going to be wanting to pit in the next lap or two, but I think Mac is going to be coming up towards him before then. What do you think, Kirk?
Certainly. If nothing changes and we don't get any rain or anything, Pedro is definitely going to be starting to feel the heat from up Manley. Although it's probably going to take a bit of time, as obviously that Mercedes is not very good in down the straights, which is obviously a very important part of this track.
Yep, no, I completely agree. I mean, there's two long straights here, but at the end of the day, there's a whole very, very twisty section right in the middle, which historically means if you can just stay in front of the car behind you, just sit on the apex, they cannot get past. And if you haven't got that top speed and you're a chasing car, it becomes very, very tricky very, very quickly.
It really does do, absolutely.
But I'm impressed so far. Lee running P4. We have seen KD the Kind, Sim Race Dude, amongst a couple of others, take pit stops already. So Lee running P4. I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, the consistency from him has been very, very good this season so far.
Yeah. You don't have to be the fastest, but as long as you're being consistent, that's all that matters.
Ziggy has come in that M6, wanting to get rid of those soft tyres.
I'm not sure if rain's expected, but I'm looking at this middle sector and it seems pretty dark in the middle sector, Luke.
Going on board with Swizzy, yeah, looking at those clouds. It does look a bit ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. It would be the first time we've seen rain actually rain draw in a race this season, Luke. Obviously with it being a slightly damp start in Autopolis, not enough to need the inters or anything, but the track had been sprinkled with a little bit of rain, Luke.
Yeah, Autopolis had that little bit of a slightly slick nature to it in turn one. Other than that, it was basically a dry race. But yeah, third race in, we might be actually getting a shower. Or, this is the Ardennes, it could be absolutely anything. It could just be a little bit of fog rolling in.
Just a bit of passing cloud, yeah.
So, at the moment, I'm predicting Swizzy's going to come in, lap 11 or 12. I think Pedro is going to be in this lap, quite potentially, if not at worst next lap. But Mac is not looking great on fuel. But if he pits now, I think he will undercut Pedro quite significantly and go for a perhaps double soft stint to the end. What do you think?
Yeah, possibly. We saw Katie the Kite taking his softs 9 laps, to end of lap 9. So
there goes Mac. There he goes. I hope someone picks up that phone
probably,
because I called it.
It's probably going to be a bit too much to ask to take a set of softs to the end, so it's probably going to have to be double softs or straight to a set of hards, which we saw last week at Autopolis. Manley tried to move to the hards, and that was just not a good race tyre in the slightest. It was
Lee
just
is
too
in as
slow,
well.
and there wasn't any grip.
So Lee is in as well. That promote Katie the Kai back to third. Do you know what? I'm wondering? Is Swizzy going for that one stop? Will he just go to hard tyres on the next stop and then just do 12 laps and go again?
It'd be interesting to see, Luke, because all he would have to do is take his tyres to about lap 15, 16 possibly.
Well, if you go to softs, yes, then we could get there as well. But if you go to hards now, he's just got to manage his fuel. I think we could be seeing a one-stop, maybe from the top two. I mean, they won't be very quick on those hard tyres, but they will get to the end. It's just going to be a matter of managing that fuel.
Absolutely. To be fair, I think if you can get to that, we saw with Kai taking his fuel, probably minimal fuel saving. Minimal fuel saving going to about lap 8 or 9. I think if you pit about lap 15, you could take a full tank of fuel to the finish if you don't want to do any saving or anything.
Quite possibly, quite possibly. Ziggy is running 9th at the moment, right behind Stephen, who comes a little bit squirrely, come over the top of Radion, so that's potentially a fight in the very near future. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Lee has pitted and is back out again on those hard tyres, so he might be going to the end. He's got a full tank, so that you can tell what his fort is there. So we're definitely getting a split strategy here. Right, Swizzy, he's going round again. He's going to go to the end. He's definitely going to go for a one-stop, I think. Pedro comes in.
Pedro in.
Yeah, he's going to have to use some fuel saving if he wants to make that a one-stop as well.
I think you were right, Luke. I think it was just a bit of fog rolling over, because it certainly looks a lot brighter now, unfortunately.
Ooh, this stretching is interesting. Definitely very interesting. I was not expecting to see a one-stop here.
Yeah, obviously compared to Autopolis and High Speed Ring, the track is obviously a lot less cool to the tyres.
That and a combination of it's not just so flat out, so the fuel is brought down, the fuel usage is brought down, the tyre usage hasn't got any of those banked super long corners compared to High Speed Ring, and yeah, it's really changing up the strategy. It's going to be interesting to see where Pedro comes out. He's still refueling at the moment, but go ahead, Kurt.
Looking at Kai's fuel, I think he's going to have to stop again. Half fuel. I don't think he's got enough to get to the end, Luke. I think he's going to have to box again.
Right, we're just watching a battle. It's going to be near a four-way battle into the bus stop. Ziggy on Stephen. It looks like that's Nick getting out of the way. And then that's Lee just in front. So, okay, there goes Stephen into the pits. I think Nick as well. So that is now going to be Lee out in front of Ziggy, who's on the softer but medium tyre. And that's going to be a fight down into Lake Holmes. So this battle is going to go again.
Absolutely. I feel this is still the battle for net P5 after everybody in front of them stops. Obviously, we're still waiting for a pit stop. Oh no, we're just waiting for Bertie to stop now. So this is a battle for net P6. No, net P5. Yes, sorry.
Hello to Mags, otherwise known as Tom, in the chat. Welcome. This is our S01-R03 round 3 at Spa. So welcome to the chat. Anyone else out there on YouTube or Twitch, feel free to say hi. Comment on what you see. Swizzy's going round again.
Swizzy going around again. I mean, as I said, Luke, if he really wants to make this one-stop work, he needs to stretch it to at least end of next lap. Because obviously we saw with Kai that them soft tyres were really just about toast after 9 laps.
I personally cannot believe he's doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's really under pressure from anyone. The only person he's really under pressure from is Pedro, because I think we both know that Kai is going to have to stop again.
Yep, and so is Pedro, because he's on the soft tyre as well. He's not going to get that tyre 13 laps. So Swizzy is going to be the only one out there, I think, going on the one stop. Saying it. Maybe big crazy Bertie. We know 3 things about him. He's big, he's crazy, and he's Bertie. It's entirely possible.
Yeah. Possibly starting on their medium tyres, possibly looking at coming back at Lee and Swizzy towards the end of the race. We have Swizzy going around the outside of Lee, coming up into Blanchimont. It didn't work the first time. He backed out of it the second time. Looking for the cutback. Possibly a little bit of nudge there. A little bit of a nudge to Lee. Swizzy goes for the outside. Lee defends the inside. Swizzy cuts back, and then can he hold it around the outside in the final corner? Get the traction down, and he perfect traction, and he does get past Lee.
For legal reasons, we have to say that was Ziggy, not Swizzy, but that was a cracking move there, Kurt.
Is he? Unfortunately, sorry about that. Yeah, interestingly, Lee on the hard tyres.
But he does have that more fuel, and I think he'll be going to the end. But he's going to have to fuel save from there, by my calculations. But cracking move from Ziggy there, running outside of the bus stop of all places.
Yeah. It's not really a place you see an overtake happen.
No, and speaking of another overtake, we've got Swizzy going around the outside of Nick, putting a lap on him around the outside of Francorchamps. Of all things to do, Swizzy. But he's 26 seconds clear, but he has lost about 5 seconds in the last couple of laps to Katie the Guy. But there we go. Swizzy's in the pits, 3% fuel. What tyre is he going to go to, Kirk? Is he going to go softs, or is he going to go hards?
I think this is a no-brainer softs. He's going to have to save a little bit, but I think it's a no-brainer soft. Obviously, he's going to be under pressure from Pedro now. We know Kai's going to have to box again, fortunately so. Obviously, starting on them soft tyres was just not a good strategy call, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. Long way to go yet.
Personally, I think the battle at the end of this race is going to be Manley versus Kai for that final podium position now. Unfortunately, so as much as I love Kai and want to see him win, I think he has just made the wrong strategy call today.
Well, we're going to see if Kai can extract some raw pace. We will. I'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, those top 3, top 4, it's not settled any way in any form yet. My wonderment is what Big Crazy Bertie's going to do. Is he going in the pits? Nope, he's still going. So he's definitely doing a one-stop now. Swizzy is back out on soft tyres, near full tank. Is he going to do 10 laps on those tyres? It's possible, Kirk.
Yeah, as I keep saying, we saw from Kai. Kai took his 9 laps, and it maybe a little bit marginable at the end, but it seemed like he could do it okay with just fuel. Yeah, so I think probably Kai's hoping on just taking a quick dash of fuel and trying to hunt him down.
Oh, Ziggy's in again.
Oh, he's got damage. He's crashed. Look at that front right.
Yeah, can't see where from, I'm afraid, but yep, he's carrying quite significant damage. So that's going to be a change of strategy now. Probably just chuck on the soft tyres and go from there, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully just try and catch Lee in that. Lee on the hard. Hopefully, he should be able to catch Lee on the hard tyre. Right,
let's have a look at the rest of the field. We've still got Nick. He's doing a good job there circulating on those hard tyres. I mean, it's not an easy job on that RS01 and those hard tyres. About to be lapped by Katie the Kai. We then have, in 12th, we have Fred, who he's changed those hard tyres he had for a set of softs. It looks like he's now going to the end as well. In P11...
I think Nick quite badly blocked Katie the Kai in the final corner.
Yeah, got that up on replay. Coming into the bus stop.
Comes up into the bus. He was not expecting Katie to be there and just turns in.
Yeah, and then he's been reset back behind the bus stop. So, okay, and then we have, obviously, as I said, Fred running in P12. Stephen, after an incident which we didn't see, is now being shown blue flags. He's got a leader coming up behind him somewhere. I think that's Katie the Kai behind him in P11. Ziggy's back out with some soft tyres and full tank of fuel. He's going to the end. Koulios, recovering after that spin through Malmedy, is now into P9 on the back of our co-founder, Sarah Hawkey, running in P8, who is, I think, going to have to stop again with that fuel load, Kirk.
Yeah,
but that blue is really looking good.
Could definitely be quite marginable if she wants to get to the end. Oh, Bertie, we see Bertie.
Yeah, Bertie pitting on 0 fuel, so he's just coasted in the pits. It's done well to get there. He'll be going to the end now as well. Let's stay with Koulios and Sarah.
This race.
Yep. Let's stay with
No
Koulios and
worries.
Sarah, see what goes on here. It's going to be a move either into Blanchamont running outside or into the bus stop for Koulios. And that RX Vision is quick in a straight line.
Yeah. We saw Sarah parking it cheekily on the apex on the Stavolo, but here comes the pace of that Mazda. Is he going to look for the inside on Sarah right now? He does. He brakes late. He's going to get it stopped in time. It goes a bit deep. Sarah looks for the cutback. Don't quite get it the first time. She looks at it for the second time. But yeah, in the end of the day, Koulios just maybe outbroke himself just a tiny bit, but in the end he made it stick, which is the most important part.
He got away with it. He got away with it. So that's that's those two. Bertie has just pitted, gone down so far to P10. He has now finished refueling, full tank of fuel, soft tyres. He's going to push to the end. So let's see where Bertie can come out. He's now a P9, P10, sorry, right behind Ziggy. So that's going to be a battle between those two, I feel. So we'll come back to that in a moment. And then we've got Lee. So we've got Lee running in P6 on his own at the moment, but consistent running. Sim Race Dude in P5 to stop again. There's no way he's getting home with under a quarter of fuel. Then we have Mac running in P4, 12 seconds behind Swizzy. So at the front, we clearly see Swizzy is going for what looks like a one stop, but he has come out a long way behind Kidi the Kai and Pedro. So I think that we still have a potential victory for Kidi the Kai if he can just push that car to the absolute max. But he's going to be in shortly, and it's going to be a very sprint race to the finish between those two cars.
Absolutely, and the weather again looks really threatening again. I don't know if it is again just another set of mist or if you have got rain on the way, but it is certainly gone a bit misty about on track.
I had noticed and I was keeping an eye on it, but we will see if it rains, if or when it happens. Ziggy has picked up another half-second penalty, but he's being followed closely, only 3.2 behind, by Big Crazy Bertie, also on soft tyres and a full tank of fuel. So, race for P9 is on there.
If we go on board with Sarah, Sarah's still right up behind Koulios, possibly closing that gap in. Not quite close enough to challenge into the bus stop. Maybe looking at possibly towards into the comms, maybe after the Camel Straight. If she can really nail this corner, too bad.
Yeah, it was a good bit of driving there. And she's keeping up with Koulios, and that RX Vision in the hands of Koulios is not slow, so good bit of driving there. I do think on track, Kaylee the Kai is going to be roughly around lapping P11, P10, so these couple of drivers are going to have to be watching out for the leaders anytime soon. Kaylee the Kai's in, never mind.
Yeah, interesting to see where it comes out compared to Swizzy, especially now that he's going to have to take a bit of fuel, which probably allows Swizzy to get in front of him. Yeah, but Pedro takes our net lead of the race.
He does, he's going to push him to the end.
Yeah, can he hold it from a charging Swizzy? Last lap, Swizzy was only a few tenths quicker than him, so maybe not feeling the heat too much just yet, Pedro. But I assume as these tyres wear down, that he will be certainly starting to feel the heat from Swizzy.
Yep. The couple of drivers that I'm curious about are Mac. Is he going to try and go to the end? He has half a tank of fuel and 7 laps into which to do it. It's going to be a tight one. And then otherwise, Swizzy, we know he's going to the end. Pedro's definitely going to have to stop again. There's no way he can get quarter of a tank 7 laps. But yeah, you can see he's pushing as well. He's gone purple in the first sector, then the Camel Straight. Sim Race Dude is in on 4% fuel as well, and he'll be going for a nice set of soft tyres, I would believe. Yeah, so at the moment, Kady the Kai, where has he come out? He's coming out of Radion now. Where is Swizzy? He is down into Rivage, so that is a good 15-20 seconds gap there. That's probably too much for Kady the Kai to overcome.
I mean, we said that last week about Swizzy and Jabril, but did we see how it ended up?
You have a point.
Last lap magic, Luke.
You have a point, and it was. So I recommend everyone seeing, if they haven't seen it already, check out on the Nighthawk Racing YouTube channel. Check out Race 2 Autopolis. It was one hell of an ending. And I was very happy to be racing in it. That's all I can say. I missed that action at the front, but watching it back on repeat was... I utterly enjoyed it, I'll tell you that much now.
Absolutely. I think this is still anyone's race for the podium. Obviously, Pedro's probably going to have to box again. So the ball is in Manley's favour right now for keeping the podium over Pedro, or over Pedro right now. Money.
I wonder what's happened to Matt, because somewhere along the line he's dropped 20 seconds almost to Pedro. And that's not all fuel. I mean, 10 seconds of that might be fuel. I think he might have had a spin somewhere at some point, Kurt, because they were only 2 seconds apart for most of the opening stint.
Yeah, possibly.
There you go. Mac is in. He's going for those nice, lovely, sticky, soft tyres.
I see lap 13 at 2:26, so that's going to be where he lost a bit of time. But other than that, I'm not too sure, Luke.
Yeah, that does look like a 10-second loss almost, so that could well be a spin. Something for the replay. So there you go, Pedro again setting a PB, and purple sector in sector 1 down the Camel straight. So he's clearly pushing, he's not saving fuel. He's racing KD the car, he's 27 seconds behind. Yeah, this is a race for P2 somewhere along the line, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Lee. Oh, Lee's boxing. He don't want any more of those hard tyres. He's had enough of them.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting where he comes out. It'd be interesting where he comes out compared to Sim Race Dude.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of dropped off now from Sim Race Dude and Lee, them two.
Yeah, well, Ziggy had that incident somewhere where he had to re-pit, and unfortunately keeps picking up half-second penalties, probably on the exit of Stavilo or something to that effect. So, yeah, but it's going to be now a race between Lee and Ziggy, depending on where Lee comes out, I think. Oh, we still got you, Kirk.
Hello?
Right, I think we still got you.
Yeah. As we see Stephen getting lapped by Pedro, coming into the bus stop. Now, is Pedro going to pit this lap or next lap?
I think he'll be pitting this lap. Lee did come out in front of Ziggy. No, he's carrying on one more lap. But we did see Stephen comes in as well. But we did see Lee come out in front of Ziggy.
Ziggy picked up another half-second penalty as well.
Yeah, unfortunately keeps doing it. It must be over the top of Eau Rouge or something. Over maybe Radion. So Stephen in the last 7 laps. Going to go for some nice soft tyres to the end, I think. Pedro, our leader at the moment, coming through Eau Rouge, over the top of Radion, and back down the Camel straight, probably for the last time on this stint.
I think looking at our top 3 or 4 now, it is going to be pure, flat-out laps to the end.
Yep, and it looks like the weather has cleared up nicely, and it's nice, bright sunshine now. I don't think there's any chance of that rain.
Fortunate, you would imagine the drama it could have caused, especially with the amount of mixed strategies we've seen today, Luke.
Yeah, quite right. And I will say, I've been in a race here when the rain has let loose in the last 5 minutes. So round Spa, around the Ardennes, you never know what's going to happen. And we have a Raven, the king of commentary himself, in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're enjoying the action here at the F1 RST round 3. At the moment, we'll do a quick rundown. Kurt, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, certainly. So currently leading our lineup, we have Pedro, who we are obviously, if we look at the fuel, we expect him to pit again. Followed by Swizzy, who is our net race leader. The gap's about 19.5 seconds back to KD the Kai. See, maybe not the strategy to go for today, the 2-stop. Obviously, it gave that Swizzy that extra pit stop advantage. Although I think with Swizzy's pace, there's no catching him. But by Manley, who we've seen pitted again, he probably knew that he's not fight. He probably found out that he wasn't in the fight for a podium no more. So he's just gone for a fresh set of softs and trying to set the fastest lap. Then we have Sim Race Dude. Just done what did. He's done what he does best. You know, clean race, avoided penalties, avoided any drama, and just kept a nice clean race, taking probably bar any incidents, taking them quite a comfortable P5 in the end. Followed by Lee P6. We saw him go into the hards that didn't quite work, but he's pitted off the hards and come back to the softs, and that's kept him P6. We see Ziggy only two and a half seconds back. Ziggy, first race he's joined us for this year, this season, and P7. Can't say he'll be too upset with it. Then we have Bertie in 8th, hunting them both down on them softs. It'd be a typical Bertie performance. He's kept it clean. Every time I've seen him, he hasn't been crashing or picked up any penalties or anything. So he'd be probably very happy with P8. Koulios in P9 battling with Sarah. This is a 4 position, although obviously Koulios does have that half-second penalty. The speed of that Mazda really paying off down the camel straight into Lecombs. Although Sarah's trying it around the outside, but she isn't brave enough and backs out. Although I'm pretty sure she knows her time's coming later on around the lap with that half-second penalty that he has. Followed by Sarah in P10. This race back after commentating with me last race. P10 should probably be very happy with it, you know. She'd be happy to keep it clean, keep it steady, and enjoy herself. Followed by Fred in P11. Obviously, we saw an unfortunate incident with him at the start of the race, and he's obviously just been driving a recovery drive ever since. Steve obviously picked up from the penalty from last race. Started at the back and just been sticking there, trying to keep it clean, pick up an occasional position here and there, but I feel like the penalties have really cost him this race. Then finally, last but certainly not least, we have Nick. Driving his best race. We've seen him tangle it up at the front a few times this race, but I'm sure he's happy to be here and all that, Luke.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, there's a lot of respect we need to give someone who is sticking it out, and he's here to improve. He's not going to be winning any races tonight, but across this season, next season, our aim as part of Nighthawk Racing is to help elevate the skill level of a lot of drivers, bring them into the community, and so they can enjoy themselves. And as long as Nick is enjoying himself, I'm personally very happy. So keep going, Nick. It's great to see you in the field. But yeah, nice rundown, Kirk. And at the moment, it does look like we have a nailed-on Swizzy victory at the moment. As Raven said, a very solid field out there. KD Dakai does have the fastest lap with a 2-minute 15.5. And I may tell you, when I did some testing, that is way quicker than what I can go. So, absolutely kudos there. Hopefully he had a slipstream. Because it's making me look slow. But KD Dakai looks like he is challenging. But 3 laps, 15 seconds, that's a tall ask against Swizzy, even with aging soft tyres. But Pedro, cracking drive at the moment. Oh, we're going to go to Fred and Stephen, who are having a hell of a battle through La Source. And this is for position, Kirk. So this is the honours of P12. Stephen on... Oop, wrong button. Stephen on much fresher soft tyres. Going to go on board for Eau Rouge. Now there's going to be shot of the day, I think. Over the top. You can see the front end of that 911 skating across the corner in that dirty air from that AMG. But Stephen, down into Lecom. Take it away, Kirk.
Yeah, Steve down on the inside into Lecom. Can he outbrake Steve, or should I say Fred, on those soft tyres, fresh soft tyres? He tries to hold it around the outside. A little bit of contact there. Fred gets the outside for the next corner. Steve keeps up the inside and yeah, takes it away. Is Fred's tyres too worn back to fight? Or he breaks it? Steve might cut him out a little bit there. But yeah, I think that's a move cleanly done by Steve into Lecom's, Luke.
Yeah, not bad. Through Lecom Moundy, you can see Stephen's got the grip, and you can see the lights coming on for the cars as the sun is starting to set here in Spa in the Ardennes. So, good bit of driving from those two, thus proving you do not have to be at the front. And Crazy Good Kung Fu, thank you for the follow, my good friend. Hello, George. Good to see you. But you do not have to be in the top 10 to have a good race. So,
We've seen the clouds roll in again for what, the third time this race, where the clouds are really starting to come in.
yeah, it can't make up its mind, can it?
It can't. Yeah.
Well, we have Pedro, who is on fresh, soft tyres. Can he get a sneaky couple of points for the fastest lap, Kirk? What do you think? Would you be, if you had a gap as well at this point in the race, say a 30-40 second gap, would you be pitting to try and nick a couple of extra points?
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe we might see it next lap to see Kai come in for a fresh set of softs. But obviously we can't see what the weather's doing. Obviously it looks quite threatening, so we don't know if there's any rain coming or not. I think if I'm I don't really think there's a gap. If I'm someone like Bertie, maybe. I don't think I'm catching Ziggy, and I've got plenty of gap behind Tessera. I think maybe I'll be pitting for a set of softs. I don't think the gaps are really big enough at the front here to successfully pull it off without losing a position.
Somewhere we have lost Koulios. I mean, he's still in the race, but he was joint with Sarah. Now he's nearly 30 seconds behind, so somewhere we've missed that. Because Stephen is on the back of him. It shows Dreadmite on screen, Koulios in nature, but it's now going to be a three-way fight for P10. This has come out of nowhere, Kurt.
Absolutely. If you look on the lap times, we see he's lost about 28 seconds somewhere compared to what a usual lap time around here.
Oh, Fred wide at Les Combes again. That's the second time this race. But Stephen will be happy not to have him on the back of him.
Absolutely. We've seen this battle over P10 towards the end of the race, although they're going to have to get out of the way from Manley, as we see Steve maybe holding him up a little bit. Probably I wouldn't want to hold him up for too much longer. If I'm Manley, I probably want to be getting past and trying to hunt down Pedro. Obviously not doing his race any good here. Yeah, and then oh, Koulios wide again. That's probably he really needs to take advantage of Manley trying to get through, and hopefully pull that gap up.
Yep, we can see that on replay going wide through Puon. I have to say again, hello to Crazy Good Kung Fu and good day to you too, mate. Absolute pleasure. I probably butchered that, so do not hold it against me. But cracking to see you here as well. One of the Raven Comms elite as well.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure to have more experienced people than myself joining the chat.
You're doing well, my man. I enjoyed this, so that's what we're here for. We're here for a lot of good fun and a lot of good memories. At the moment, these drivers are definitely providing it. And let's have a cycle up through the field again. We got just under 3 laps to go, so I'm going to do this very, very quickly. Nick's having a moment, unfortunately, out of last horse. Sorry to catch you on that one, man. Fred in P12 coming out of the chicane. Oh, lighting up those tyres. Those soft tyres looking very, very second-hand. Stephen in P11 on the back of Koulios. These two have been together for most of the damn race, so well done, lads. But Stephen's tyres do look a bit fresher than Koulios, but we'll get to see who's got the more speed. Sarah running in the top 10, P9, one half of our Nighthawk Racing co-founders, so doing well, and doing well in the blue 911. I can't remember the name of it. It's like the I'm going to get butchered for that one later on because I can't remember the name of it. And then we've got Big Crazy Bertie running in P8 on the one stop. Did not see that coming for this race, but doing well, only 8 seconds behind our very own admin of Ziggy, whose front tyres look absolutely shot. So he's going to have to make it to the end on that one. It's too late to pit. He's going to have to chuck the brake bias all the way to the back and hope it survives. Lee on much fresher tyres. Consistently, he's there again. That P6 is going to be going to the end. Sim Race Dude, formerly known as Xenos and a few other different titles, in that V12 Aston, showing the bronze livery and one I absolutely adore, running in P5. Mac Manley, absolute legend in his own right, and running in P4, just outside the podium. He has caught Pedro by about 8 seconds in the last few laps, so we'll have a quick look. It doesn't look like Pedro has lost time anywhere. It looks like he just doesn't have the same pace Mac does at the moment. But Pedro running P3, one of our other admin, and doing the group justice. Katie Dakai. He's caught Swizzy a little bit, but they're on the final lap and it's a 10-second gap. Despite the 2-stop to 1-stop strategy. Oh, Katie Dakai! Absolutely sideways coming out of La Source. And then we have Swizzy, who is running virtually on rims for the final lap. So anyone who is behind these guys will be finishing this lap. So, Swizzy, absolute dominant performance again, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame we didn't get a repeat of Autopolis where we saw second chasing down first. But that you cannot take away from Swizzy again. Another fantastic race where he's chosen the right strategy, shown absolutely dominant pace, and has just not put a foot wrong. I hadn't seen him pick up any penalties or make a single mistake. Luke.
Yeah, quite right. Somewhere along the line, Koulios has fallen behind Stephen. Fortunately not seen on replay, but that's another place for Stephen. These two having a nice clean race after the upset at Autopolis last week. I'm absolutely thrilled to see them making the end of the race and having action all the way through it. Well done, lads. I would not want Fred's tyres, I'll tell you that now.
This could be an interesting battle coming in towards the bus stop, Luke. Actually, we know that speed the Mazda has in a straight line compared to something like the Porsche. It could be quite interesting to see.
Yep, quite right. I'm going to be sticking with the leader in the last sector coming through the bus stop, but at the moment, looks like most positions are more or less set, with the exception, unfortunately Sarah picking up a half-second penalty, the exception of Stephen and Koulios, who are, we will keep an eye on as they're coming through Pouan now. So, Swizzy, take it away, Kurt.
Yeah, as he exits the final corner, was there really any doubt who was going to win? 3 for 3, well, yeah, 3 for 3 wins now in our league. Swizzy takes the win, followed by Katie Kai second. Probably thinks he could have done more today if he could have made them softs last a bit longer in that first stint, but you can never go wrong. Only 8.5 seconds in the end, followed by Pedro in third, coming into the bus stop. Not quite catching Sarah to lap her, but I'm sure he won't mind anyway. Yeah, so we have Pedro taking round up our podium today in P3. But Manley is finishing us up in P4. You know, someone who's probably a bit disappointed not to get a podium today after winning the sprint race. Well, finishing second in the sprint race, might I rephrase. But yeah, I don't think he'd be too upset with P4. It's a decent haul of points. And then probably best of the rest, sim race dude. We saw him earlier in the race having a three-way scrap with Lee and Ziggy for P5, but in the end, he managed to keep it clean, keep it consistent, kept out of trouble, and secured himself quite a nice P5. You know, obviously once he broke the gap to the rest of them, there was no real looking back for him. Yeah, so nothing, can't really fault him today. Again, every time I looked on his onboard, I didn't see him going wide, spinning, or getting a penalty or anything. So yeah, I'm sure he'd be quite happy with P5. And again, same with Lee. Maybe there's been 1 or 2 times where I went on board and he maybe picked up half a second penalty here or there. But again, P6. I'm sure he's not going to complain with that, Luke. You want to take his finishes up, Luke?
Yeah, no problem. We have our very own Ziggy, one of our admin crew, finishing in P7. Solid return back to racing, so cracking to see him. They showed absolute brilliance, particularly in the sprint format. Not so lucky in the feature, but he's still coming home in the top 7, so not going to be arguing. Another one of our admin, a big crazy Bertie. We know 3 things about him. He's big, he's crazy, and his name's Bertie. So, well done, my man. Sarah has finished already, so coming home in P9. We'll have a quick look at the results. But yeah, that's I couldn't agree more with what you said, and I think this screen says it all, to be honest. Victory, pole position, clean race. Swizzy, you can't argue that. The only thing he didn't have was the fastest lap, which we expected with his strategy. I mean, he was the front runner one stopper. I mean, that's something we didn't even forecast. I mean, I thought it was a nailed on two stop without any potential other choice there. So absolutely cracking race from him. So let's have a quick look at the results. Calendar's on screen at the moment, so if anyone is free for the rest of this season, feel free to tune in both on my personal Twitch on Midnight ISO and the Nighthawk Racing YouTube. So next up will be Dragon Trail, but let's go back to the results of this one. So yeah, Swizzy comfortable in the end, just under 9 seconds to Katie Dakai, cracking race, and can't be arguing that. And then we have Pedro, another one of our admin, doing absolutely amazing P3 in that Genesis, and that is a tricky car to drive. Those front tyres do not like to stay attached to that car. Sim Race Dude, P5, absolutely outstanding result in that V12 Aston. I mean, that is something I would not have put on the cards at all today. Lee, P6, nice solid race. Ziggy, P7, welcome back to the Racing Fold, my man. Big Crazy Bertie, P8, another one-stopper, the only other one-stopper in the field. And Sarah Hawkey, P9, one lap down, but has done herself absolutely proud. Again, one half of the Nighthawk Racing co-founders. Oh, thank you for the raid, Miss Hawkey. Just speaking about her. I mean, her ears must have been burning. Next, we have Stephen, who gave us a good showing today. P10 and Koulios in P11. A little bit of a messy couple of corners on occasion, but it showed his outright speed. I mean, that 2 minute 19 is not slow. Just needs to work on the consistency, and he'll be right in the fold. Fred, P12, unfortunate first lap accident, I believe, and a couple of other little bits and pieces, but he's done himself proud as well, got some good mileage, and will be looking to enjoy himself going forwards. And then Nick, absolutely pleasure having him on the grid, and thank you very much, my man. So, Kirk, I think we need to start discussing driver of the day. What do you think?
Driver of the day. Is there really any question who deserves driver of the day? It's got to be Swizzy. You know, we saw it again. Dominant, qualified on pole in front qualified on pole in front of Katie Dakai. Even though he was on the harder tyre. And once Katie Dakai pitted for about lap 8, lap 9, there was no looking back for Swizzy, was there? He had a plan before he started the race. He stuck to it, kept it clean. Obviously, blisteringly fast as always, and he ran out to the end. There's no one else I could really give it to, Luke.
Oh, and thank you to both Sarah and to Manley for the Twitch raid. Absolutely pleasure to have the pair of you here, and thank you for racing today. Hope you two have had a good one. With regards to what you said, Kirk, yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. Swizzy has absolutely taken the race by the scruff of the neck. Somehow saved so much fuel, he's gone to the one stop. Cracking driving from him, but otherwise, if I were to break it down a bit, sprint race, I would give the driver of the day to Ziggy for a return to form, and coming from the back of the grid all the way up to, I think it was 6th in the end, if I check my notes. I've lost my notes. I've lost my notes. But yeah, that was absolutely cracking from Ziggy to have that great recovery drive. But yeah, across the event, I think, yeah, Swizzy. So, cracking driving from them all. But one thing I'm going to have to say is please tune in for the rest of the season. If you've liked what you've seen here, myself and Sarah will be alternating commentary duty. So I'll be racing next week at Dragon Trail Gardens, and she will be in the commentary chair right here on the Nighthawk Racing channel and her own personal Twitch, if we can get that working. Otherwise, so far, that is... We're not quite halfway through the season yet, Kirk. But I think... let's ask the question: who's the favourite for the championship so far?
I'm going to say it, and it shouldn't come any as a surprise. It has got to be Swizzy. You know, every time I see him on track, he absolutely blows my socks off with how fast he is. He looks absolutely insane compared to everybody else in the room. No offense to everyone else, but Swizzy He's got to be in the top 1% of drivers.
Yeah, absolutely, easily. I mean, he's the favourite at the moment, but it only takes one race session, be it sprint or feature, for it to go absolutely sideways. The weather is enabled here. We haven't seen any today. Even at the Ardennes at Spa, it has threatened, but it hasn't happened as of yet. So although he might be favourite, it's by no means certain. We're only 3 races in of the 8-race championship. But otherwise, we're still looking quite strong for a lot of the drivers, and I think we're going to be seeing a good showing in the remaining races, particularly from, say, McManley, from Pedro, Katie the Kai. 2nd, 3rd and 4th is easily still up for the grabs, and we're seeing great drives from Sim Race Dude, from Lee, week in, week out. Big Crazy Bertie seems to appear from nowhere on occasion and just finish outside the top 3. So there's a big fight there. And I think we're going to see a lot more from Ziggy as well when he gets back into the fold. And we see a lot more from him too. So, any highlights from today's race, Kurt?
Highlights from today's race. I think really... as in terms of unexpected performance, I think Pedro done very well podium after obviously a pretty poor week, or pretty poor round last round at Autopolis, getting obviously 8th in the sprint and 9th in the feature race. To bounce back with a podium in the feature race, you can't exactly go too wrong with it, can you, Luke?
Exactly that.
Yeah, I think obviously Swizzy dominated off the start. He avoided all the drama that probably helped his race out quite a bit to not get bogged down and didn't wheel spin too much off the start to fall into the clutches of the chasing pack behind. That really helped his race. He did what he needed to do off the start. I think this was always from the start. It was always Swizzy's race to lose, bar a mistake or poor strategy. But I think he just played it all to perfection like usual, Luke.
Agreed. Right, we're going to head off to the podium room now. If any of the top 3 drivers want to jump in, from Pedro to Katie the Kai and Swizzy, feel free to jump in, guys. Mac, you're more than welcome too. So I'm going to move over to there, Kurt, if I'll meet you there, and then we'll see who is about. Right, we have a Pedro in the chat. So, man, did you enjoy yourself out there?
Just give me 1 second, guys.
No problem, my man. We were just saying that it was a lot of fun out there and looked like you had a good race. I hope you can hear me at this point. But, Kirk, with regards to Pedro, what did you see and what impressed you today, mate?
I think what impressed me today is how resilient he was. Obviously, as I just said, poor week or poor round in Autopolis. To bounce back as strongly as he did, you know, surely you must be over the moon with the performance, Pedro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely, I had a bit of a difficult round at Autopolis, just tried to do damage limitation there. I was quite surprised with my quali performance, even though I realized I was having a bit of a technical issue with my controller, because apparently when it's running low on battery, the car was just understeering everywhere. I was with Sarah, Bertie, and Zig in the chat, and I was telling them exactly this, because the car just wasn't feeling the same. And yeah, like at the beginning of the feature race, I had Mac just keeping me on my toes, really. So yeah, just really congratulations to him as well. I know he had a bit of an issue during the second stint, really, but I was really enjoying the battle. Like for me, just Swizzy and Kai were completely untouchable today. So just the fact that I was even fighting them at some point was was quite an achievement in itself. Yeah, I think I'm just overall very happy with the performance. I think I couldn't really have done much more today. Had to deal with a few issues on the sprint race with someone just hitting me wide, and a few issues with lap cars in this race, but hopefully that's just one for the stewards. But overall, just really happy, really proud of everyone as well and their performances.
Yeah, I can only echo what you said there. And it looked like you had a lot of fun out there, to be honest, but somewhat in a world of your own, in between all the other guys. But you did yourself absolutely proud. That Genesis is not an easy car to deal with, so all I can say is well done today, my man. And quite frankly, congratulations on the podium.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, I was maybe thinking about a different strategy at first, but the tires just weren't really allowing it on the first stint. And then I actually quite had a bit of a both a fun and nerve-wracking moment because on my first pit stop, I believe, no, it was on the second one, I actually ran out of fuel on the run up to the bus stop. And I didn't even realize at the time. Like, I was just so focused on just trying to get to the pits that I didn't even realize that I'd ran out of fuel. And then, because I was just driving, and I was like, well, the car is feeling strangely slow now. Why is it slowing down? And then, just had to make my way back into the pits. Honestly, like, just Swizzy and Kai just had like really good pace as always, like really good strategies as well. So I just tried to do the best I could, really, and went a bit aggressively, just maybe to try and get a cheeky fastest lap. That was always going to be a very difficult task. But yeah, just really proud of my performance, and once again, just really want to congratulate everyone, because especially the admin team that was like with me in the chat during the race. Really proud of them all. Looking forward to Dragon Trail Gardens next week.
Yep, likewise. And well done to yourself again. I'm going to say thank you for dropping into the podium room, and again, well done.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon. Take care, my man.
Yeah, you guys have fun as well, and see you soon.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Right, I believe we also have a Manly in the chat as well. Are you available, my man?
Hello.
Hello. How was the race from your perspective? Did you enjoy yourself out there?
Yes, it was very good fun. Very good fun. Except for me, like having skill issue all the time. But like, we deal with that as we come to it in the race. It was a good sprint race. I mean, unlike Autopolis, Swizzy unfortunately made his way through the pack at the start very quickly, so I couldn't go off into the distance like I did in Autopolis. And then the endurance race, I was kind of struggling a small bit at the start. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like the AMG was a little bit tricky, and particularly trying to make passes like with the top speed. But it looks like you did yourself justice. And unfortunately, we're all going to have the odd issue, particularly here at Spa. I mean, there's a lot of curves to worry about, and a lot of areas of the track where you can easily pick up one of those penalties. But honestly, I think you did yourself well. I mean, a P4 at the end of the day is not a bad result, and is going to put you in good stead for the rest of the championship. So, well done to my man. But do you have any highlights of the race in particular?
I mean, going into the race, I knew the Mercedes wasn't going to be the strongest car, so I kind of had my sights set for Dragon Trail, because I quite like enjoy that track. It's a good one. But highlights of the race, I think. Yeah, the battle with Pedro at the very start was very good. He did a phenomenal job in the endurance race. He had a very good pace, and he pulled off the strategy really well. I tried to do the same as him, but he was still just well quicker, even on the same tires. So I have to say, like, big kudos to Pedro for that insane speed. And then, I have to say there was a few good battles during the race, especially the sprints. Picking your way through the field at the sprint is always good fun. I have to say, the battle with Pedro is probably the highlight, though.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. It looked like you were enjoying yourself in the sprint. We were absolutely rooted to our seats with that one, and it looked like, unfortunately, I think you lost 2 places in about 4 corners, particularly when Katie Dekai and Swizzy come up behind you. But it's very much that nature at Spa as well, isn't it? If you get off the line, if you have a slight straight line deficit, the opportunity unfortunately arises for them to jump ahead of you very, very quickly. But it looked like you had good fun out there, and it was a pleasure seeing your race out there, my man. So again, looking forward to Dragon Trail. It's Dragon Trail Gardens, which a lot of people aren't that familiar with. And if you're happy to be racing there, and you think the AMG is going to be strong there, I'm going to be keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean I like both Dragon Trail variations, but the Gardens has a special place in my heart just because it's just kind of a quirky track. It's like those different types of corners, and they're like some of them flow into each other, some of them don't flow into each other, and that's kind of thing I like. So I think no, I still think, you know, it's not as if I'll be, you know, pulling a minute ahead of the pack. I think no, it'll definitely still be Swizzy pushing me and probably pushing past me, but we'll see. Maybe it might level the playing field for that race, at least on my side.
Well, we can only hope. I mean, someone's got to do something to take him on. But I'll be seeing you on track as well, so I personally look forward to it. And it's something that I think we share. I mean, that track is it's a unique, it's a bit of an oddity. And I look forward to having fun. Kirk, do you have any questions or any statements for Mac?
Yeah, just think about the sprint race. We saw so obviously Swizzy go around the outside into La Source. Was that kind of an intentional play to try and get the slipstream into Les Combes, or was that just a simple straight up, I can't fight this, I would let you go?
No, absolutely 100%. It was a deliberate move to try and get slipstream. But even with that, I was like 4 tenths behind heading onto Camel Straight. I ended the straight 5 tenths behind, so I lost time in the slipstream, which just shows how weak the Mercedes was compared to the Skylines in the straight line speed. I mean, I did have pressure from Kai behind me, but like them two Skylines, they cut through the air like a knife through butter. It was crazy with how quick they were on the straights. And I could only try to make up time in the corners, but it kind of helped when Kai had a bit of a confuffle towards the end of the sprint race. Kind of helped me a bit to get back past him. But yeah, it was a deliberate move. I was attempting to do that, and it would have looked cool. It would have been like Max Verstappen at Jeddah, but it didn't work out at all. So yeah.
Silver man, we were absolutely pleased to see you out there. Kirk, were you going to say something there?
Yeah. Again, and in the feature race, we saw it go dark a few times. Did you think any rain was going to come, or was it always clear on the radar?
It was always clear on the radar, but ever since I started playing this game, for some reason back when the game launched, the radar wouldn't show the weather for some reason. So whenever I see dark clouds, I always assume the rain's gonna come. But ever since one of the last few updates, it stopped doing that. So, I mean, I was checking the radar frequently while also trying to save a bit of fuel, but no, it was clear on the radar all the time. There was never one spot of rain. Yeah, no, but it would have helped me, I'd say, if it did rain. It would have helped me a lot to catch back up to Pedro after the spin that I had. But yeah.
Well, you're a bit lucky we didn't spot it on stream, but we did spot that you'd suddenly dropped 10 seconds, so we knew something was up. I was just hoping it wasn't your pedals disconnecting again.
No, it wasn't the pedals. It was when Swizzy pitted, I think, because you were focusing on Swizzy pitting, so the time gaps went all like weird. Because you know the way when they're pitting it, like the time gaps, they turn off until they go back out of the pits. So you know, I had a bit of an issue with traffic, and then into P1 I just got absolute like tanked by dirty air, and just the AstroTurf is my newest enemy in this game now. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go to Spa with a digger and dig up the AstroTurf because I don't want it here anymore.
All right, well, we'll start a. I was gonna say GoFundMe, but that's the wrong one. It's one of those sites, isn't it? We're gonna start a
change.org
petition. We'll start a petition to get rid of all the AstroTurf at Spa.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can be the one with the JTB or other named services which are able to dig up AstroTurf and go there. Yes. We'll fund you for it.
Thank you.
It was good, man. Good racing out there today, man. And we will see you at Dragon Trail Gardens. I'm looking forward to it, and I know you are. And it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you on track. So
thanks, mate. I'll be rewatching the commentary. I'm sure it'll be good. And have a great night, mate.
Yeah. Apologies for when you watch it back. Apologies for a couple of technical issues we had at the beginning, but we have captured, I think, all of the race. Just qualifying would be a bit patchy. So enjoy yourself on the watch back.
Nice one. Have a good one,
lads. Congratulations, Manly.
Take care, my dude. Right, I don't think we're going to get Swizzy or Katie the Cayenne. If there's anyone else who is on the stream that was in the race, feel free to drop in. But otherwise, we're going to be bringing this to a close. So, Kirk, good set of racing. Better, well, I'm not going to say better or worse than Autopolis, because that's not fair. But it's definitely one that I think we've just seen a higher grade of racing this week. And I'm very, very pleased with our drivers. They've done very well, done themselves proud, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I mean, some standout performances from our sim race dude, from Lee. Well, to be fair, I'm not going to say anyone's had a bad performance here, to be brutally honest. It's been very, very nice to see them all do very well. And we are joined by our Ziggy. Hello, my man, our Bila Dorada, our Ziggy Star. How you doing?
Hello, gents. How are you guys?
Very good here.
I decided to step into the podium places.
You're more than welcome. It's going to be a podium for the top three and then a podium for the next three, because the top three were disappearing out front.
Let's hope so. I will try, for sure.
How are you doing? Did you enjoy yourself out there?
Yeah, very much. It was really fun for me. Getting back into racing with the guys, with the boys. A very nice lot. Very fine racing and driving. It was really fun. The race didn't went so well for me, but I mean, it was still good. The result and how I managed to fight the stress of not playing this game for a long time now, and it was quite fun. Yeah.
Good to hear, my man. Honestly, and I said this earlier on, I think you had the standout performance from the sprint, because by the end of, I think it was even the first corner, you were like 12th, 13th, and then you came back to 6th for the actual finish of the race. Cracking result there, my man.
For the sprint, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I spent by myself, and I just waited for everybody to go by. Yeah, and then I just put my head down and tried to do my best without harming anyone, trying to do the cleanest race as possible, and it was fun. It was quite nice. Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's worth saying you haven't had the amount of mileage in this M6 that you wanted, but it did not show in the sprint, apart from maybe the first corner. But you did yourself justice, and you've got back to the top 6 again. It's something to be very, very proud of.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, the feature didn't went so well. Too many mistakes, lots of penalties. I crashed a bit on because of the AstroTurf. I had some damage that I had to go to pits to repair. But at the end, it was still really, really fun to be out there with everybody. It was really fun. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward for next week's race.
Yeah, exactly the same. Even Pedro in the chat has said he's proud of you, and he says brilliant racing from you and everyone.
That's fine from him. And congrats to Sweezy and to Pedro and to the guy. Brilliant job, brilliant racing. The guys have a tremendous pace, especially the top two. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the race as much as we did racing it. So it was fun.
Yeah, thoroughly from my point of view. Kirk, any question you want to ask Ziggy?
Ziggy, did you think you could do any better than P7 today, or do you think that was like your upper limit?
No. I picked the maximum of my ability today, and I think it's a very good place to be on the first race after so many time without racing it, without playing it. I'm quite happy. No chance at all to do better than that.
Well, I have to say, just in case you're going to say anything else, I have to cut across you briefly. Sim Race Dude has literally said to you, Ziggy, amazing racing with you, and I will absolutely guarantee when you go back and watch it, the highlights are going to be you two going side by side around Blanchimont of all places.
It was brilliant racing with him. I really enjoyed. I was laughing my head out while racing with him and trying to take any advantage on any corner, on the straight, everywhere. I was fighting so hard to have a clean race with him, and it was really, really enjoyable, really good to watch. I hope, at least.
Yeah, it was definitely enjoyable from our points of view as well. Me and Kirk were absolutely loving it when you were doing that, and we're actually watching on the screen now. You're catching up to on the replay to, funny enough, Sim Race Dude. You two had Sim Race Dude and Lee for a large portion of it were swapping places all together, and I know you had a battle towards the end. I can't remember who it was with. It might have been.
It was with Lee, but my tires were completely dead at the time. No chance to fight him by the end. No chance at all.
Well, you did very well. It was a pleasure seeing you out there. Kirk, any final thoughts there, man?
Yeah, nothing more for me. Ziggy, I thought you drove a fantastic race. Very well done on P7 in the end. You know, you can't really go wrong with that at all. Can't fault it in the slightest.
Thank you so much, boys. A pleasure as always to hang out with you guys and to be a part of this. Very proud.
Likewise, my man. And we will. Whoop, got a raid from the Pedro as well. I'm gonna say, Ziggy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Unfortunately, we've cut to you doing your lawnmower duty now. So, thank you very much for that, my man. It wouldn't be the same if you hadn't been doing it. And there's a reason why you have an emote on my Twitch channel of the lawnmower. It's for you.
Thank you, guys. See you next race.
Yeah, Dragon Trail Gardens. Here we go. Thank you very much, my man.
Bye-bye.
Catch you later. Right. That's going to be the end of the stream for this one. What we're going to do, I'm going to say, first off, thank you for the raid from Pedro, from Mac, from Sarah, from probably someone else who I've forgotten. So thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all here. On screen right now, you can see the calendar for the rest of the season. Next up, Dragon Trails Gardens, not Seaside Gardens. We fancy something a little bit different. Everyone does Seaside, doesn't they, Kirk?
Absolutely. I can't wait for another exciting race next week. Maybe even see a bit of a mix-up of the podiums. So obviously, Dragon Trail Gardens is not really that popular of a circuit that people usually drive on.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on.
Yep. I'll be racing there. I'll say the commentary duties swap between me and Sarah every week. She'll be commentating next week, so she doesn't have the pleasure or the pain of putting up with the garden section. And otherwise, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be out there trying to do my personal best, and so will every other driver. Kirk, I know you'll do well without me on commentary, and so will Sarah. So please, for everyone, join back in. We're going to try and get this working for Sarah on the Nighthawk Racing YouTube, as well as her own personal Twitch. That is for another day, another problem to try and work out. But that's it for today. Swizzy has stolen the race win in our hearts. So congratulations to him. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Big shout out to all of the drivers from absolutely each and every one of them. You've all done yourself proud, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Kirk, final thoughts, and then we're going to go for a raid.
Final thoughts, I think very good race. Obviously that battle for P10 towards the end of the race where there's four cars all battling for the same position. Very excited. I think we saw good racing all throughout the pack today. Maybe towards the end we saw the pack open out a bit, spread out. But you know, we had the slight hope of Kai being able to catch Swizzy at the end. But yeah, I think overall good race. We saw lots of good clean racing, a few incidents here and there, but nothing too bad or nothing that ruined anyone's race massively. Bring on Dragon Trail Gardens is what I say, Luke.
Couldn't agree more. Right, and on that note, we're going to go raid. We're going to go raid Tiny Turnip. If you don't know her, you're about to. She definitely has a different stance on what is considered esports racing, and it's entertaining. It's not your average feature race, endurance race. I'm going to let you figure it out for yourself. Give her some love and a follow, but please otherwise feel free to check out the rest of the Nighthawk Racing team, from Sarah Hawkey to Pedro, and we have the drivers as well, most of which stream, such as Mac and Sim Race Dude and our Ziggy. A load of our drivers stream, so I'll try and list them down below in the YouTube section. Other than that, It's been a pleasure. Kirk, I look forward to working with you again at the race after Garden Trail, which now absolutely eludes me. I think it's Nürburgring. No, it's Fuji. It's Fuji, so I'll see you back there. And that's it for tonight. But next out, Sarah and Kirk will be back for Dragon Trail Gardens. So, it's been a pleasure. Take care, everyone, and see you at this time at 8:30 next week for Dragon Trail Gardens for Nighthawk Racing F1 RST Round 4.